Hello everyone, this is probably what I would call this first intermediate HydroCAD video. It's going to show you how to change the time settings so you get the full length of a day's storm, and also show you how to export data to a CSV file. Once again, that data is going to be a time series. These are all time step analysis, and so one thing you sometimes want to do is kind of keep that time step to something reasonable, something that you can live with and use in other programs. Every 10 minutes, every 15 minutes, perhaps even less than that if you're interested in some different effects. It would be nice to keep those time stamps or time steps the same for each program and keep them same throughout the storm. That's not the case in the data that's delivered from the NRCS. So once again, we create a project by clicking here. I'll call this at this point temp C. Know where you're putting your projects. If this is for a DOT project, it would be under that file structure that all of you are already aware of. Whether you made it to class or not, you should find out what has been done. I'm going to hit open here. If it doesn't exist, I create it. Right away you have to go to your settings and go to the calculation. If you remember, we've talked about setting up the rainfall to be, for instance, a 100-year storm, 6.00 inches, 100-YR, and saving it so you have that for other calculations. Hitting apply if you would. The time span is something that you can then very often change. Instead of starting at 5 and 20, remembering that in a type 2 storm, most of the rainfall is put right in the middle. That works for most of the time, but if you are going into a dead-end basin, there is some rain falling in the first 5 hours, and so you cannot discount it. So I'm going to start with a 0 time and end with a 24-hour time sometimes, and I'm going to set my time increment instead of being 0.05 hours. That would be the 20th of an hour. I'm going to try it 0.01 and see how many points. Look how many points it creates. Every 10th or 100th of an hour. It'd be probably better yet, maybe I'll go 0.02 just so you have 1,201 hydrograph points. I'm going to hit apply and hit OK. This is going to be a lot of data, but we're trying to demonstrate how to take this data out for another program by a CSV. Once again, it's this easy to set up a catchment. This time I will set up a meadow catchment in a type B soil that's not too clayey, not too sandy. I'm going to pull the sub-catchment out. I'm going to right-click over it and edit it. I'm going to change the area, getting used to dealing with the unit area for now. 1 acre. We can look up an acre, go down through different land uses, crop, etc. You're going to look eventually for, you're going to learn the 58. Meadow, type B is 58. You're going to hit OK. Generally what you'll see, often municipalities will not let you use a pre-development curve number, anything less than 58. In other words, you're baking the system. I hit that there, hit OK, hit there, and I get basically a runoff hydrograph. At this point, to export it, all you need to do is go to Table, and then get rid of the shrink. See how it shrinks it up there, giving you a general. You get rid of the shrink, and now you see every 0.2 of an hour you have some data. That data being the precipitation, in this case for the hydrograph, and the excess inches. That's a cumulative graph, and then the runoff. In this case, it really doesn't mean a whole lot. You see, in that kind of rainfall in a 1 acre, you don't get a lot of runoff, but the precipitation is there then for you. That again is a cumulative graph on the left. So with that you can go ahead and hit export. It's going to give you a set of choices. We're used to CSV files or TXT files. You'll eventually have to clean out the top of them. I'm going to give it a name and know where it's at. I'm going to call this temp C out. It's a CSV file. I want to know where it's going. It's going to Mark Patak. For now, you would want to put these things where you know they're going, and you hit a save button. That's all you need to do to export data from a subcatchment or from links or ponds or anything like that. Once again, we can work with Excel if you want all the way through. It takes a lot more time to get to that step using Excel. Right now, I'll point out that you need to figure out how to use something like Notepad sooner or later so you can clean out files that are not so clean. You're going to open Mark Patak, all files. In this case, I'm going to go to all files, and hopefully I will find down at the bottom tempout.csv. I can open that, and you notice here, depending on the case, I can now get rid of what those things were. It is a comma delimited file, so it can be used and picked up in many programs. It can be picked up in SketchUp, it can be picked up in Excel, it can be picked up in Google Docs. I'm going to hit File, Save. A CSV is not a, just so you know, it is not intrinsically a Excel file. Excel thinks it is, but it's actually something that goes back a lot farther. It's a comma separated value file. It is a flat ASCII file. It does not have any kind of gobbledygook in it. It actually works pretty nice. And so right now we will go ahead and go into Office Excel. Some of you have the class, some of you do not. Some of you, should be using this tool almost as often and as intuitively as you are AutoCAD. So now we can do File, Open, or Import would be better, but I'm just going to open all files, tempout.csv, and it should parse it in there, brings in that data. And now you have basically time versus precipitation cumulative. You can kind of go if you want. I tend to would do this, right? I would do insert an XY scatter graph. I wouldn't let it tell me what to do, but you can see it's done a pretty nice job of doing some of these graphs right away. This is the cumulative rainfall right there, the cumulative precipitation. If you click on here, we're back to dealing with graphs. So that's basically how you go about. I'll go back through the graphing aspects of this as soon as I refigure it out. But the fact is that you want to get Excel. You do not want Excel to tell you what to graph. You want to tell. And so what I would typically do, I will go ahead immediately and remove, and then I'm going to add my X series is going to be from here to there. Remember X here. Now you realize you got a lot of points here. This is every two 200ths of a 24 hours. So very quickly you would like to know, I'm just going to take the data down to 187. I'm going to go ahead and grab the Y values down to 187. You can do these in your calculator. You can do these in all kinds of different things. And I hit OK, and that's what basically now I've just got data for so many hours. So that rainfall really is not much there. So that's how you deal with getting data out, and then getting it in will be, you'll see we're going to use as much in something like SketchUp or animation of AutoCAD as we will in Excel. Thanks for listening.